Good people, welcome back. And today I don't want to start on something new. I want to start with functions. Still on the functions section, so we want to do functions with branches. Branches. Basically, you can say these are what I'd like us cover today. So, as our subtopic says, we can have for loops, while loops in a function. We have initially just we have done functions. I don't really have return values, right? We've seen that in our initial examples, and all the functions we have here have just return values. More often, functions have branches. Yeah, basically the for loop and the while loop. Basically, what do we mean by this? So basically, functions have if statements, if else statements, or Python have for loops and while loops. In that a function, you have passed the parameter, then you have a if else statement. Or inside a function, you have passed the parameters, you have a for loop, you have a while loop, and you pass the arguments. Let's do an example. An example of the same. So basically, we'd say if we want to check a number, right? So we take a function, we take underscore number. Yeah, we're trying to check a number. So what do we pass? We pass num as our parameter. What do we do after doing that? Now here is where our branch comes in. So we'll say if num is greater than 0, right? What do we do? If greater than 0, we print. So basically, we done this initially without we had done this without the function, but now let's add a function. So we're going to say print. Yes. Yeah. Then we're going to say yes. Passed as a. Let's say num. What we just passed as our is positive. So right here, we are checking if the number passed is, so we have a function here. Inside the function we have the if statement. So if that, we will say else num is less than 0. 0, we will say it's not 0. And then we say print. I hope this makes sense and we understand how this works. So we will say num is negative because it's less than 0. What if it's not either greater than 0 or less than 0? So if any other thing, we will say else full colon. Then we identify say print number is 0. So if it's anything else which ain't that, we will say number is 0. Hope this makes sense. We have a function, we have an if statement, if else statement, and now once we have this, let's call a function. We're going to call a function by, and then we pass argument to the parameter. So we want to say check. This is how we call a function, check underscore. Basically, this is the name of our function, so we just call it and then we pass parameter. We pass an argument. Sorry. Let's do this in a file, and let's say the output we get. So we're going to say function level. So basically, I'm going to comment this out. Let's do this. So we have to indent this. So we're going to health num. Sorry about that. Else, okay, let's clear. Last name Ellie. Sorry about that. Let's start. Okay. So basically, we're trying to function. So basically, function with the branches. Now, so this we just have a function. We have a function, text in a parameter. Then we have a branch, eval statement. Then we're calling the function and passing an argument. Let's get this and see what we have. So let's go to 5. Sorry. So it's in Python. Function 11. Sorry about that. Function. We've passed an argument and we've been told that it's a positive as expected. Let's have a negative 5. Negative 5. Oh, sorry. Negative 5. Okay. 5 is negative. So both our if and else statement as well. So let's have a 0. So number is 0. So I hope we've seen how that has worked. So we've included, we've had the if else statement in our function. Let's see how. So example 1 is example 1 is we've used if else. Now let's go to a for loop. Example 2 with a for loop. Yeah, so we will create a function with a for loop. Yeah. Example. Yeah. So how would this work? So first things first, we define a function. Let's call it print stars. Let's try print stars. Stars. We're passing our parameters n for our full column. Then you ident. Now we will say for I in range of n. So basically here we will kill 2, but we won't stop. What should happen? So we're going to ident here as well. Then we're going to print. We're going to print a star. So we can print 8. We can do whatever we want to print. But let's print a star. So I'm going to print a star, right? Give a space. I hope that makes sense. We're going to loop through. A range of values, right? And we have a space between that. Then let's pass an argument like the n. Let's give n a value. Our function is called print stars. I should call it print stars, not start. Stars. So we're going to say print stars. Then we pass an argument of 3. Let's pass this to let's use this in our function 12, and then we see how the output is. Function. Yeah. So let's see the error we're getting and correct it. What we're trying to do here is a for loop with a range. Let's print this and see. Go to Python function 12. Basically, because we have passed a star of 3, it's going to go for a range of 3. So this will have to run. Then it will do for I in range of n is 3. Let's do it's 5. Yeah. It prints 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It prints 5 stars. 50. It will print 50 stars. We count this is 50. How that makes sense for a for loop and a range. Yeah, that's an example of for loop with a range. Let's do an example whereby we have example 3. here we're going through functions with branches. So let's see how it have both if and while. How will that look like? So let's see. First, as usual, we'll do define a function. So we want to print pattern, right? Pattern. Then as usual, we pass parameter here of n. Basically, we want to print a pattern of n, right? Then we ident here. Then we're going to say if starting if n is less than. Basically, you can print a pattern with 0. So we check that first. We're going to use if to be our gatekeeper. So if n is less than or equal to 0, what do you do? If it's less than 0, we're going to print. We want to tell you that print a positive number. Positive number. So basically we're going to use if to check a 0. What if it's not a 0, right? So else now the number is not a 0, right? So you entered 1, 2, number is just an integer. Now here is where we're going to look through the range. So for I in range of 1, and what we have n plus 1, right? Basically we're defining 1 so that it doesn't give us an error. Plus 1. What do? We print the star. Okay. We print the star. Sorry. Print. Yeah. A star. Star. Then we have print a star multiplied by I. Sorry. Print a star multiplied by I. Sorry. All that. Star I. Right? Because we've said for I in range. So let's print a pattern. Let's print a print underscore pattern of 4. You know, we're calling our function. We're passing we're calling our function and we're passing an argument of 4. So let's do function 12. Yeah. Let's spell that and we do function. Function 13. Sorry, we first have to go to that functions. And we now do 13. Yeah. So from this, I thought my function was called a pattern. Yeah. So let's try that. So basically, it's going to print for the first one, second, third, fourth. I hope that makes sense. Is that for each we're going to increase 1. We're going to increase 1, right? So we're going to do 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Because let's do 5. See. So basically, our function will do 1. Our function will do 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Basically, add 1. The amount of the other bits. Okay, we've done. Let's do -5. Yeah. So basically, we'll do that. Our function gives us our if statement here. Tell us to enter a positive number. Hope that makes sense, and we've understood how are we able to use functions, how we are able to have if statements and for loops in a function. We can stop at there for now. We can do more examples here, and basically our main point here was to show that for function a function can work with you are seeing how functions can work well with if statements and the likes. I hope that makes sense. So from here, what we've come to understand is that branches allows functions we have decision making. So the if statements decision making to make decisions. Does that make sense? We've seen that we've been able to make decisions using branches. Another keyword here is if you want to do repetitive functions. You want to do repetitive tasks. Loops allows functions to do. So basically, loops allows functions to do repetitive tasks. And finally, branches and loops. Makes functions powerful and as well flexible. Yeah, that's how loops and branches comes through for functions. It can be used in, imagine an auction website fee calculator. That's when a for loop and branches comes through for functions. So we can have user-defined functions that makes a program easier to understand. Okay, we can stop here for now. There are many examples we can use here for how functions work with branches and loops. We've just done a few examples. I hope that makes sense, and I hope you have understood that to that point. If there are any questions, you can leave down the comment section and we'll be able to handle them one by one. We can as well tackle more examples on this as we go along. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.